Psychologist. I have been practicing psychology in the city of Los Angeles for 41 years. I got my PhD in 1970 from University of Utah and a postdoc at UCLA, and I basically remained there. So USC is a rival school to me, although my son went to school here, and so I contributed some money to this organization. And he's now orthopedic surgeon on your team, on your football and basketball team. So the true Trojan. Today, I guess I thought of talking to you about a couple of things. One is that I did research on Iranians that have been here for 30 years. And what has happened in the past 30 years to the Iranian community nationally. And the other thing was to talk about transition. The subject of the talk tonight is transition, and what does transition means, especially for all of us, because we are all immigrants in this country, and some people say that as immigrants we never feel right in any situation. Once you have changed your homeland, your country, you feel like you are a stranger wherever you are. We are very fortunate in Los Angeles that we have a mini Persian culture, and we can feel that we are at home with our friends, our people that speak Persian. We have television, we have radio, we have everything. But people who are in Kansas City, people who are in Texas, people who have gone to smaller places around the United States have a very, very difficult time adjusting to that. During my research, one of the things that was very striking and interesting was the fact that so many of the Iranians who have gone to smaller places were brunt of so much prejudice and persecution during the hostage crisis and during other situations that they actually went and joined the local church. They became Christian. They changed their name to, Ali Muhammad Shokrai became Jack Jones, and his children became, Michael and Mitchell and all of the other things, in order to survive, basically. There's a Dr. Mobasher at University of Texas in Houston. He has done a whole book and also just documents on all the prejudices, go to your camel Iranian and all sorts of things that was happening at that time. So we have a group of Iranians that had to change their identity, their religion, in order to be accepted. In Los Angeles, we don't have that issue. Come on in, please. The issue of transition is a concept that has come up in psychology in the past few years, and Dr. William Bridges, who's head of humanistic psychology, has done a book on transition. And it means going through a change that you have no idea what is the end of it, the other side. He gives a very, very interesting example that might clarify what I'm talking about. And he's talking about, the trapeze players, the guy, in circus you see people that are hanging by their hands on a trapeze. Excuse my little man hanging on this. And then he lets go and goes through the air, and then he's expected to catch this next bar. He talks about transition being the time that you are actually flying through the air and coming to the next bar. This transition is called the neutral zone here. And he talks about this area as being the scariest, the loneliest, the hardest time in your life. anyone who has made a move, anyone who has been through graduate school, anyone who has done, a time that you have had a goal and you had to sacrifice everything to just float through this area to catch the next bar, knows how difficult and dark and lonely and cold and everything this neutral zone is. So when you talk about a group like us who has left their culture, their language, family, and all the familiar things that we have known in our towns, in city, and not only that, but then we are also the brunt of, you are terrorists, we are going to bomb you, we are your country, all of the things that we are hearing. It loads up this area additionally and causes a lot of trouble. Since I've heard this thing that they're going to bomb Tehran, I have not been in Iran for 52 years, for a short time. I almost am saying, where are they going to bomb? Who's going to get hurt? It has a different effect on you than bombing Libya or something else. It really affects you on a very primal, primitive level of your soul that this transition becomes harder. The issue is that if you lose your focus from your goal, from where you're going, this is deadly here. How many people do you know that they have done everything? We used to call them ABDs. Instead of PhDs, they used to get ABD. PhD, well, you know what it is. ABD is all but dissertation. Just before dissertation, or right in middle of dissertation, they quit. They never made it. They lost their focus here and they fell. People who apply to different graduate schools and first denial, they quit. People who fell in love and got married and decided to go to work, and instead of any kind of a diversion, any kind of event that takes you away from reaching your goal is messing up this neutral zone and not reaching your final goal. I have no idea what you like me to do, how many minutes you want me to talk, and how many minutes you want me to have for question and answer. Yes.
خانم دکتر این بستگی به خودتون داره، ولی مثلا حتی هر جوری راحتی شما میخواید یه مثلا کارت داشته باشید
برای من هیچ فرق نمیکنه.
همینجوری که شما کارت میدید آیا
If any question comes up, please interrupt, say something. No problem. Yes.
And if I can say something in that case, then please, whoever has a question, give me a second. Please say it on the mic, so anyone at home, if they need to, they may have a similar question. So
okay.
Benefits.
Okay. So this is what we call the issue of transition. We know that stress, in psychology, we know stress affects people a great deal, and stress causes depression and causes people to not be able to focus, concentrate, and move on in their life. During transition, one of the defense mechanism of body is to go through depression. Whenever you are going through hard things, and it's a very primitive way of dealing with stress. We go back to cavemen and how during the time when you are depressed, you don't move around, you're not as hungry, so consumption of food gets less, you're not affected by dangerous events and elements in your environment. So depression is a very, very normal reaction to this neutral zone and to the stressors that are available here. Again, the issue is fix the depression, fix the anxiety, fix whatever it is, and remain on the course. We see this a lot now in organizations as well. Companies go through transitions with the financial problem that the United States has gone through, with the whole technological phase that we are having. You go through a transition to new world, new life. In organizations and in, imagine USC. Before it was classes like this, now you can get classes online. This might be projected to your home. You can, you don't have to attend classes and all of that. Therefore, the teacher has to deal with his presentation, and you have to deal with the issues in a different way. They're saying that in transitions, you don't do three things. One is that you don't go back. In the old days, we did this. It was effective in the time of your great-grandparents. It doesn't translate in today's society. What your great-grandparents did, it's not applicable to today's world. You need to say it was done, it was good for them, but today we have to come up with new tools. And you see it, unfortunately, you're in an institution that you're moving with that. Secondly, the goal and focuses have to be short-term, because long-term goals, they don't mean anything. I'm going to be an engineer the rest of my life. No. One of the things we know about your generation, you're going to have multiple careers, and unfortunately, they say multiple spouses too. that they are just, it goes together, that. And it's really not expected that somebody gets married at the age of 30, 35 and lives to be 95 with the same person. Very, very few people can maintain a relationship or a career for that period of time. Used to be that people were, jewelers, and great-grandfather was, all the Goldbergs, Silverbergs, and all of this. They were in silver business, generation after generation. Not anymore. People are I was talking to somebody on the way. I was talking to Aida. I said, a friend of mine who was an engineer and has a very successful company, at the age of 38, he has decided to become a dentist, and he's in dental school. So, he never thought when he was taking engineering courses that one day he would be attending dental school. And this is happening more and more. Yes?
I had a question. Is there a way to foresee this, or do you just have to wait for it to happen to you? Do you have to wait until the age of 35, for example, in your friend's case, to find out that you're destined to be a dentist, or is there any way for you to, I don't know,
predict it?
Predict it, yes.
Actually, look at. What was I reading? I was reading an article. There's an article called Singularity. The guy is a futurist and an unbelievable man. He believes that if we live 10 more years, we have solved all of the global problems, all of the things, and he has tremendous, tremendous inventions that he's talking about. And he said that he took his iPhone, and he said, when I was at MIT 40 years ago, the engineering school that contained the computer department, like UCLA, where the hospital is at UCLA, we used to go down in the basement of that it was all, the computers was there. It was just, the whole basement was just one computer. We had to punch cards like this, and all the programs were wrong anyway. It was a huge event to get one program done, something that you can do it in 2 seconds. He said the computer that was at MIT 40 years ago cost